Hi everyone, my name is Suzanne and I'm a Chinese metaphysics master in Hong Kong. Today we're going to have the last session of Purple Star Astrology, the main star introduction. There are 14 essential main stars in Purple Star Astrology, and depending on where they appear in your natal chart, they take on different meanings and can tell you a little bit about what you encounter in life. So today we're going to look at the two stars that we have not discussed yet, and that would be Tian Xiang and Wu Qu. Now, of course, I can only give you very, very general terms because the stars and their attributes, they change slightly depending on how they appear in your chart, what other stars and formations they come along with. So I'm just going to give you the default sort of like the keywords, all right? Now, first thing you need to do is to plot your purple star natal chart. You can go to this link and I'll also post it in the description to the video, so you can just copy paste. What's important in purple star astrology is that you know your time of birth. Without the time of birth, you can't plot a chart, especially not with this plotter. There may be other plotters that allow you to do so, but you will not get an accurate chart. Also, Purple Star Astrology, the charts that are plotted are based on the lunar calendar, but this particular plotter that I'm giving you here converts your birth time into the lunar calendar date. So you don't need to convert it yourself. So just put your regular date and time of birth, and it will convert it into the lunar time natal chart. And what's important is here to plot the flying stars chart, not the Sanhe chart, right? So what's highlighted here, circled in red, that's what you need to click to plot your chart. And then you will get a chart like this. You will see here 12 boxes. We call them palaces, and they are all labeled. The most important one is always the life palace. The life palace is down here in this particular case, but in your cases, it may appear somewhere else in the chart. That's perfectly normal. So the arrangement of these palaces may look different depending on your particular case. All right. So don't worry, but we all have the same palaces somewhere in our chart. Now, as I mentioned, today we are going to focus on the two remaining stars we have not discussed. That is the Tian Xiang star and the Wu Qu star. The Tian Xiang star in this particular example is in the Friends Palace. So for you, it may appear somewhere else. It may appear in the Children Palace or the Property Palace. So just take a look where you have the Tian Xiang star. And depending on the palace it appears in, it can take on different key meanings, right? Again, depending on what other energies are affecting this palace, it changes slightly from person to person, but overall, in general terms, I will give you the meanings. All right. Now, as always, we start with the life palace. So if you have the Tian Xiang star in the life palace, we're looking at someone who is quite committed and loyal. Yeah, very, very loyal person. Also very cautious. They don't tend to take impulsive action. They think things through and then they stick with the plan. They're committed to the plan, and they are also committed to the people in their lives. Now, on the downside or the weaknesses that they may display, could be that they tend to be workaholics. Yeah, they work all the time, and they tend to be a little bit stubborn. Now, if you are determined, then that's usually a good thing. Stubbornness is something that we don't like to see. So make sure that you remain open-minded to other people's opinions if you have the Tian Xiang star in the life palace. And also, people with the Tian Xiang star in the life palace, they tend to be a little bit busybodies. And they like to know about everybody's comings and goings. So they come across as busybodies, yeah? So you may want to tone that down if you notice that in yourself or if people tell you about it, all right? Now, next up is the siblings palace. So if you have the Tian Xiang star in the siblings palace, you tend to have quite supportive siblings. They're helpful to you. Siblings palace also pertains to your mother. So you may have a very supportive mother, very nurturing mother, a mother who is there for you when you need her. Now, Tian Xiang in the spouse palace is an interesting one because you tend to be with someone who was introduced to you by or recommended to you by someone else. Maybe you've been set up by your friends on a blind date and that person ends up being your partner. Very often people who have the Tian Xiang star in the spouse palace end up with a classmate or someone they used to go to school with, or with a work colleague, or someone they already know from their social circle for a long, long time. Yeah, so that's the Tian Xiang star in the spouse palace. Now, if you do have children, and if the Tian Xiang star appears in the children palace, you're quite lucky because you're blessed with good-natured kids. Doesn't mean that they will never throw a temper tantrum, but overall their nature is quite good-natured. They're quite mild-mannered. They're not rebels. Yeah, they're quite loyal, and they're not the most impulsive children. If you have the Tian Xiang star in the wealth palace, you tend to be good with money management. Yeah. Doesn't mean that you don't have to educate yourself on wealth matters, but someone with Tian Xiang in the wealth palace tends to have a better affinity with just the subject matter of financial safety. They like to educate themselves about how to make money, how to save money, how to accumulate assets, and so on. So they're quite good with money. They're not spendthrifts, yeah? So that's the key takeaway here. Now, Tian Xiang in the health palace is also quite lucky because overall they tend to have good health. Now, of course, you may come down with a flu or you may feel under the weather every now and then, but overall their constitution is quite good. Their physical wellness is quite strong, and they have a lesser risk of suffering from some fatal disease or some really, really serious illness. Now, they do tend to struggle a little bit with water retention, so water weight. But other than that, you're actually quite okay. So Tian Xiang in the health palace is something that is beneficial. Now, Tian Xiang in the travel palace means that other people perceive you as a very honest and upright person. They think of you as someone who is very faithful, very trustworthy. The travel palace doesn't just necessarily indicate activities outside your house and you traveling to other places, but it also sort of like it acts like a mirror. What is it that other people see when they see you? Yeah, it represents your image. So in this sense, on the outside, by other people, you're perceived as an honorable person. And again, this is something very positive. If you have the Tian Xiang star in the friends palace, like for this particular person here with this chart, you're blessed with a lot of good friends that help you out during mid-age. Yeah, so between the age of 35 to, let's say, 60 these days. So that's what we call mid-age. You tend to be surrounded by a lot of people who are very helpful to you. And that's not just in business or in finances, but just overall, the people you surround yourself with are of good quality, and they're helpful. Yeah, if you need support in any way, you can always turn to your friends. If you have the Tian Xiang star in the career palace, you're looking at someone who can be quite successful in sales, but also in, let's say, insurance or in wealth management products and services. Yeah, doesn't mean that you have to go into these types of industries, but this is something that you have a good affinity with, right? Again, it depends on other features in your chart. Of course, not everyone who has a Tian Xiang star in the career palace will go into insurance or wealth management, but there's a tendency for that because the affinity is bigger. Tian Xiang in the property palace means that you have the ability to accumulate more than just one property or own more than one property or asset. It requires quite a lot of hard work, so it's not just going to fall into your lap. It doesn't come through a windfall or an inheritance, so you actually have to work for it. But there is a very, very, very good chance that you can own more than just one property. If you have the Tian Xiang star in a mental palace, this is also a very nice thing to see, because then you're dealing with someone who is easily happy. So it doesn't take much to make them feel happy or for them to feel satisfied. So they're not constantly running after everything, after a better thing or after a faster thing or whatever. They're not about the grass is greener on the other side all the time, right? So they're very, very content. They are easily happy with their circumstances. And so they feel quite blessed with what they have. And then lastly, the Tian Xiang star in the parents' palace. The parents' palace, even though it's called parents, but it relates mostly to the father. So if you have the Tian Xiang star in the parents' palace, you have a father who takes good care of you, generally speaking. Your father has your best at heart, and even though, he may not always express it in the right way, or you may not immediately see his best intentions, but the good intentions are there, and he really, really likes to make sure that you are taken care of, yeah, with the Tian Xiang in the parents' palace. All right. So this is the Tian Xiang star. Now the other one, the last one we have not looked at yet, is the Wu Qu star. Wu Qu over here, and in this case, it's in the siblings' palace. Now, again, we are starting with the life palace, as always. If you have the Wu Qu star in the life palace, you're very, very good at enduring hardships. You have good stamina, let's put it this way. So you're not scared of challenges. You're not scared of obstacles. You feel challenged to overcome them, and you're actually quite happy doing so. So enduring hardships sounds like your entire life is just going to be a struggle. That's not what this actually means. It's just you're someone who doesn't run away from challenges, but rather faces challenges head on and is able to overcome them. People with Wu Qu in the life palace, they are also quite firm and determined. So once they've made up their mind, they stick with their decision and they go for it. Now, on the downside, they may come across as a bit impatient and domineering. A lot of people, they shy away from challenges. And when you then deal with someone who has Wu Qu in their life palace, a Wu Qu person will simply not understand why not everybody can just face their fears and stand up to challenges. And that can make them quite intimidating to other people. And they're impatient when others don't follow through. Yeah, so that while they're actually quite nice people and very helpful, they come across as a little bit impatient and domineering. And that makes them sometimes a little bit lonely. And so they need to make sure that throughout life, they do build up a good circle of friends or a good support system. Let's put it this way. Now, if you have Wu Qu in the siblings' palace, like this person here, usually the affinity with siblings or with the mother, because the siblings' palace represents the mother more so than the parents' palace, the affinity is not great. Now, it could mean that you're just not really clicking, or maybe you move far, far away from your siblings or your mother, and therefore the affinity is just not there. It doesn't mean that there's outright tension or aggression or just discontent. But you're not as close as other people are to your siblings or your mother. Yeah. Now, if you have Wuqu in the spouse palace, again, the recommendation is to marry a little bit later in life, so past the age of 40 rather than early in life. Because you tend to attract someone who has this Wuqu character, so being domineering and being quite firm in their opinions, and that can make it quite tricky to deal with unless you've both gone through life, have become wiser, and you know how to deal with challenges in a relationship. That's why we're saying usually with Wuqu in the spouse palace, marrying later is a little bit better. Now, if you happen to have children and you have Wuqu in the children palace, you probably have ambitious children. Yeah, they're not happy with the status quo. They always want to be better. They tend to be quite competitive, and they want to move forward in life, and they want to be the best. So they're quite competitive, and they may be quite demanding as well. So if you're a very laid-back person and you have the Wuqu star in the children palace, your children tend to take quite a lot of energy because they seem to be much, much more ambitious than you are. Now, Wuqu in the wealth palace, this is very, very good because the Wuqu star is considered a wealth star or a money star. So having Wuqu in the wealth palace usually means that you have good financial luck. Now, again, you need to do something for it. You can't just sit back and be like, okay, well, I've got Wuqu star in my wealth palace. Everything is going to be fine. Money is going to rain from the sky. That's not it. But you tend to be, when you take financial decisions, you tend to make the right decisions, and you have very, very good financial acumen. Now, Wuqu star in the health palace, that means that the illnesses or the sort of like the health afflictions that you may have to deal with in life often have to do with your respiratory system, including the nose, yeah, maybe sinusitis, things like that. But also be very careful with bone-related issues, especially in old age. So arthritis, rheumatism, these kind of things. So this is something that you need to monitor throughout life and make sure that you take preventive action. Wuqu in the travel palace means that in order to make more money, you need to leave your hometown or even your home country. Go somewhere else, live somewhere else to make money. Nowadays, it could also mean that you make money from clients who are located overseas. So while you're still where you are in your hometown or in your home country, but your clients are located somewhere completely different. Then you will make more money rather than just dealing with local clients or just remaining local where you are. Wuqu in the Friends Palace indicates that you are surrounded by people who are quite well off financially. They may be better off financially than you are. So you're surrounded by these kind of people, and in order to make use of this, of course, you need to make yourself useful to them so that if in case you ever have any financial issues, there will always be someone to help you out. Having Wuqu in the career palace, also very good. We like to see this. This is someone who is good in financial management, careers or sort of professions that have to do with finances, with wealth, with money. Maybe a CFO, for example, would be a good career path, or some sort of wealth management expert. Anything that has to do with financial management is very, very good for them. Wuqu in the property palace, also again, because Wuqu is associated with wealth and finances, having this in a property palace is auspicious. You have good property luck. So either you're very good at buying up property, or the one property that you have, that you own, is one that doesn't cause you any problems. So there's not constant repair work required, no leakages, no renovation is required. So property luck is very, very good and goes smoothly. Now, having it in a mental palace means that you keep on thinking about how to make money. And so you gotta be a bit careful that you don't put a monetary value on everything in life, right? Because that comes across as someone who's overly calculative. But someone with Wuqu in the mental palace, they tend to think a lot about what they can do to improve their financial situation. Yeah, they keep thinking about money. And then lastly, having Wuqu in the parent palace. Parent palace, again, as I mentioned earlier, relates more to the father than the mother. This shows that you may have a father who is quite strict and has extremely high expectations of you or of the family itself. Someone who, may create tension in your life if you don't follow their expectation, or if you don't fall into their realm of expectations. Is not a bad father, but very strict. Yeah, they're not laid back, they're not laissez-faire, it's a very strict father with high expectations. All right. So this is what the Wuqu star means. Again, I can only give you keywords. It changes slightly depending on what other stars are present or what other formations are in that particular palace, but generally speaking, the default meaning is what I gave you. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this series on the 14 main stars in Ziwei Doushu. I hope it helped you understand yourself a little bit better and maybe the people you're surrounding yourself with as well. If you have questions, if you have comments, of course, please put them in the comment section below, or you contact me directly. My email address is in the description to the video. And in the meantime, please like the video, give it a big thumbs up, share it with anybody who may be interested in it, and please subscribe to my channel so we can grow this community. All right, see you guys soon. Take care.